Hey guys, Deathlock Dave here. Welcome to another Wednesday night live stream battle report recap. This evening we had Jordan back from the dead playing some Circle, some Glorious Circle Sid, and Pat playing his Troll Bloods. Jordan, what was your pairing this evening?
Kruger 2 in Bones of Orboros and Wormwood in Devour Host, which is the new, the old new Tharn theme.
Gotcha, and that's the one that's been basically completely revamped with
Yes.
Sid. All right, and Pat, what was your pairing this evening?
My pairing was Jarl and Cole Grima, and both of them were actually in Storm of the North.
Alrighty, and Jordan, what did you choose to play this evening?
Wormwood.
All right, what was the reason behind that choice?
Just to play Tharn because they're the new thing out there.
They've
So
got lots and lots of cool stuff for
new
sure.
toys. So
And Pat, what did you pick to play this evening?
I picked Cole Grima because with the CID out, I figured he'd be playing with the CID models, and I was more familiar with what Cole Grima was bringing than with my Jarl list, which is almost brand new to me. So
Gotcha. Cool. All right, and so we are scenario 4, which is Invasion, and Jordan, you won the roll.
yes, and I chose to go second.
Okay. Because of some glorious foresty goodness on your
Yeah,
side.
there was some force on my side.
Tree hugger.
It turns out that Ravagers and also a tree loves
That
forests.
seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Cool. And Jordan, you want to just talk about the Sid changes that you're playing with? So the Sid, so it's locked down right now. It's just an internal testing right now. The Sid cycle is over.
So we don't know exactly what's come out, but they usually come out pretty accurate. But it's so my list consisted of 2 min units of Ravagers with UAs, a max unit of Blood Trackers with UA, 2 Gallows Groves, what was it? A Tharn Whitemane, a Tharn Shaman, Geterex, Warpwolf Stalker, 2 units of Stones, and a Gorax. And the changes that happened are Tharn Ravagers gained Brutal Charge. Back, actually, they used to have it, but they gained Brutal Charge. And they also gained Rapid Healing, which is actually can be quite big.
Yes.
The Blood Trackers gained parry naturally, and Nuala gained a mini feat of they can switch their prey between 2 targets, which is quite handy. Mm-hmm. And then she also gave them Reposition 3 back from Mark II as well.
Okay, nice.
And the Whitemane lost his Overtake and Heart Eater. He gained Countercharge and Veteran Leader Tharn. And the Shaman went to Command 8 because it was a bit harder to get. It was hard to get his buffs out, so they gave him a higher command. So,
cool. And your
Geterex went down in 2 points, also gained Rapid Healing, and the
Pathfinder.
And gained Pathfinder, and then the Wolf Stalker went down 2 points as well and gained a Strength on his weapon.
Okay, cool. So lots of good stuff to definitely buff up that Tharn theme for us.
Yes.
Sure. So we're playing scenario 4, which is Invasion. We have a central rectangular zone which is oriented vertically, can be controlled by Warcaster, Warlock, Warjack, Warbeast, and Battle Engine. We have a circular zone on either flank, which can be controlled by Warcaster, Warlock units, and we have an objective on either side of the zone, and you guys both picked...
the healing objective, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so you guys have any thoughts on the scenario going into it, or?
I was pretty content with what I was playing because I was lighter on beasts, but I had like five solos, 5 units, and a couple beasts. And with the rectangle being in the middle, I felt like I had enough units to contest quite a bit actually. So, and control effectively. So.
And Pat, how are you setting up here?
I'm actually trying to do something a little different. I've noticed that in all my games, I tend to have my stone pretty far back, and I tend to activate it last, which, with all the stone can do, I'm not utilizing it the best I can. So I'm actually setting up the stone on my front lines in the center with the goal of actually activating them as one of the first things to do. Because with a Northkin Elder in this list, it gives everyone a speed bonus, so it just makes more sense. Mm-hmm. And from there, I just kind of branch out from on either side and put a unit of champions on either side and a war beast on each side, so that I can actively keep an eye on where the flow of the board's going and dedicate my forces where I feel they're needed.
All right. Looks like we're over to you, Jordan. How are you setting up here?
Pretty standard. I'm just the beasts are kind of going up the center. I've got a unit of Ravagers on each side. I chose the table side because, as you can see in it, I've got the forests. One is closer to my side, but their Ravagers like to play in the forests. So yes, they are tree huggers that eat hearts. But they also, I just want to take advantage of the forest. I also had a forest on my side of the board, so I had a place to put Wormwood later on in the game if he ever wanted to start shooting a bit, so I could get Prowl and get Stealth. I also set up so I start off by setting Wormwood pretty central in stones because it's a good way to get him there. I also put Cassius right next to him. I put the Blood Trackers on the right and pray the Northkin Raiders because I was going to go after them if he gave me enough of them. I was also tentative going into them because they were the best answer into my Blood Trackers, so unless he gave me a good amount to kill, I wasn't going to really overcommit my Blood Trackers into him because AoEs tend to hurt ARM 11 models. So I'm also got my tree set up on both sides just to start going for those forests so I can get them some Prowl and just get some Arc Nodes up there. So I think it's over to you, Pat, in your first turn.
Yep, well, I advanced deployed my Raiders along a nice straight line, so just kind of get them up there across the board and let the direction change as they needed to later. So we're just trying to figure out what everything does here, because you got all sorts of bells and whistles, because I have not played Circle very often.
No, not many people in our meta have played a lot of Circle, so...
Let's face it, they're hard to find from the trees.
Yes, it's true. It's true. They're kind of they are stealthy and they don't want to be found. But yeah, we're just going through some of the rules. The same thing I explained at the very beginning, just the rule changes for the actual live stream on what things do. And yeah, more also so you know what's going on too, so you're not just blindsided going into them. So.
You give me too much credit. You think I'll actually remember things.
I had to look back on myself too. There's a lot to remember.
We quickly go over what we have on the table for terrain.
Yeah. So I'll go over that now. It's so middle of my board there's a forest. Above that is some water. At the top zone, on the left side of the top zone, there's a forest. Top right zone, there is a trench. The AoE you see on the right side near Pat's side is one of
my snowdrifts, which is granted to me by the theme.
Yes.
And both of the rings actually are snowdrifts.
Yes.
We have a house in the zone in the center with rubble between the center zone and the top zone.
Yep.
And then in the bottom zone, we have another forest, which should just make you tree huggers so happy.
Yay.
With a hill on his side.
Yes.
And there is a wall touching one of my snowdrifts near the bottom.
Yes.
So this is where we started, and I start off by getting my stone up right in behind my Raiders and activating it and using the Northkin Elder to give the +1 speed bonus to all Northkin models, which thanks to my theme force means that all my champions count as Northkin. Mm-hmm. I awaken the stone, get a small bubble. It's not a bad start. It's just short of where I want it. So then I activate my Rune Bear, give Harmonious Exaltation to Cold Grandma, and then I move her up into the little bubble I left for her, so she can put out a couple of clouds, because he's got those spears, and I don't want to get a spear chucked in my face right at the beginning.
Fair enough.
So I want to try to block off that a little bit, and put the rest into the stone, so that'll give me a chance to action. So it'll cover all my champions to give them the speed boost that they're going to need.
Yep. So you keep moving stuff up here. And
it's apart from that, it's pretty standard troll turn. I just sort of make everything run as quick as I can. Move up my Raiders, kind of hide them just behind the clouds so that you can't just shoot me. Behind the clouds, the wall, and I managed to get 3 into the snowdrift, so they get concealment bonus for that. because, gotta love the snowdrifts.
Mm-hmm.
And since they are your prey targets, well, I've got the barrel rider pig as part of that unit, and I've learned a few things from other people, so I figure, you know what, he's gonna go and hide in a trench, because let's face it, pigs are not the bravest souls, and that'll help keep your prey on them. Even though I find out you have a mini feat that lets you skip it later, I figure it's still worth a shot, because if nothing else, it forces you to use that mini feed.
Yeah.
So from there on, it's just move everybody up. I want to get them close to the zones to threaten it, and without actually going in just yet, because I do want to try to get the alpha. Something my list definitely does better with is when you've got your champions to alpha in, because who doesn't like getting 4 dice damage on the charge?
It's true. Yep, it's true. So you move your Earthborn up there behind the hill. Yep.
Yeah, getting the Earthborn up there.
The wall. Sorry.
Yeah, I get him up there by the wall to give him that +2 for his elemental communion. So that's a great thing to do. You gotta love that ability with Earthborns.
Yeah, they're quite handy with that. So you just run up your other champs just to push them farther. Those are the ones with Scaldy up there.
Yeah, that's the top unit is the one with Scaldy. And they've also got a Fellcaller hanging out with them, who doesn't really need to do any calls yet, so he just runs up and get my Mauler up there and get a nice solid block coming right at you. And it's over to you.
First thing I think about is you've left a couple good clumps. I can't get you actually have left some clumps to do a bit of Hellmouth, but it's hard to get the most effective use out of Hellmouth with medium bases. But we just do simple stuff, move trees around. After seeing how you would move put the clouds down and hit most of the raiders, I start thinking about where I actually want to put my blood trackers, because I feel like they're they're probably one of the more solid units that I have, and their Ravagers on the charge can do damage, but with parry now, the blood trackers continuously just back out and keep throwing their Weapon Master Spears, which is good. So right here I'm measuring. Cassius is also an Arc Node, which is quite fantastic. And I decide, I have enough Fury. I feel pretty safe with him if I pull him back behind that house. I'm going to throw a Hellmouth and try and get a couple early kills with on some of those Northkin Raiders. So I pull them in. I think I end up killing 2 of them, but we do the Stone Aura ends up being quite helpful actually for them. So
turns out Stone Auras save troll lives.
Yes, they do. So
troll lives matter.
Yes. So I think there's 2 tough checks there. I think you die. 2 of them die.
They go down.
Yep, which is okay by me. Then Wormwood just spends 2 to pull Cassius back behind the wall there, or behind the building there, and the tree camps 1. So
yeah, that's right. Yanking your caster all around the place.
Yes, I am all the time. A tree's yanking you. You're not re-yanking the wood. So giggity. Yeah, I don't know. And then after that, I just run everything, get everything where I can, run to be out of range of things. I'm expecting a feat here, which is fine. I'm not. I have enough guns that he needs to feat, but not enough guns that it really matters a ton. But I don't know. It's kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird. I feel like there's a weird list. No, it's very
not really list chicken. It's kind of weird because both of us, our feats are decent, and yet against each other they're sort of half as effective as they usually are.
They're good. I block line of sight and things, which is mostly what I want to do. But your feat also takes my Pathfinder away, so then my feat also hinders me. But
exactly.
So I end up actually deciding that with the way you put your Northkin Raiders, you've kind of pushed a lot of your stuff heavily down to that side. And I feel like if I swing my my blood trackers up to the top, I can actually very much take that zone. And then I would just want to keep early on inside. I just want to start throwing models in the bottom zone and contesting and try and win this. I can score first and I can score last. So I just decide you haven't given me much, so I'm just going to try and start scoring the top zone. If I ever get an ability to take the flag as well, or the objective, I'm going to use the blood trackers to just kill the objective and go up 2 points and just try and win it from there. Win it on that. So that's what after seeing what you did turn 1, that was my thought going into the next couple turns, was just swinging up and wanting to go more for that top zone up there instead of. You put a lot of raiders and things in that, so I wasn't expecting to win that zone in the long run. So,
at the beginning of turn 2, after seeing how you've moved, I realized I want to set myself up to try to contest the zones as much as possible. But honestly, since it's going to start scoring on your turn, I know I'm going to have to give you a few pieces. So, but I want to try to give you as little as possible. Because I think a big part of this game is just going to be attrition. Because we both got some good tricks. We both got some tough models. So
yep. So
I'm doing a quick check a few things over, and because let's face it, it's been a while since I've played Cold Grima, so it never hurts to double check the cards. And like some people say, you read the card, then step 2, you finish reading the card.
Yes.
And step 3, you read the rest of the card.
Yes. So I think right now you're planning right now is how far you want to put Cold Grima up just to pop your feet and what you can all do with that.
Her feet, while getting rid of your Pathfinder is great. The really good thing that for scenario play is the fact that it pushes all of your any model that gets caught in it back 2 inches.
Yes.
Which will definitely make it a little easier for me to get up the board and not have to worry about getting caught in your threat ranges. So I do use the proxies to figure out where to put Cold Grima, and I even factor in using her Vanish to get her up even further. I admit I do it a little weird because I actually, 9 times out of 10, I tend to use her Vanish to be more aggressive and get her feet that much further into people's faces.
Yep, this is good. I think if you would have not Vanished forward, and you wouldn't have gotten enough in the feet for it to really matter.
I don't think so. So I popped my Stone Aura with the Wild Winds to make sure that everyone gets the speed bonus, and left myself a nice little corridor to get Grandma up there.
Yes.
You got to make sure to leave room for Grandma.
Yes, always leave room for Grandma.
Exactly.
Yep. So here I think you're moving up your Northkin Raiders to start throwing some bombs.
Yes, I'm getting ready to start contesting because you've already got a model touching the zone, so it's like, you know what, I don't really like that, and you know what, you gave me a piece, so it's a little silly, but I'm going for it. Guess we'll get some damage in.
I was actually quite happy you went for it, honestly, because I wanted to get the you to proc Vengeance. So
I'm glad I could help you somewhat with that.
I appreciate it.
Although to be fair, with my dice rolls, they thought about not letting you. I mean,
they're very close to not. It came down to the last one, I think.
Yeah, it was the last guy. The last guy got your one Tharn.
Yes.
And then of course the fifth guy that I had in there, he couldn't see the Tharn, so he said, "What the heck?" and burnt down a tree.
Yes, he did. Which was in range of Wormwood, so he turned one of his own trees into another soul. So turning trees into souls, it's a great thing.
Apparently, deforestation is good for his trees.
Yes. So you kill one of my Tharns, you take your last shot, you kill the tree. Vengeance is procced. And then walk us through what the rest of your turn is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's not much else you can really get, so I think you just run things in.
Yeah, apart from that, there wasn't too much else I could do to actually get anyone. We kind of joke about me moving the pig somewhere, so he runs a whole whopping 0 to stay in his trench and hide like a good pig. I moved my champions up, keeping them in base to base so that they get all their lovely bonuses, because I want them inside the zone to possibly capture it later. Yeah. But I also want them up there because I know you're coming into the zone.
Yes.
So charging champions are just too much fun not to do.
Yes. Fair enough.
I get Velka comes up on the outside of the forest at the bottom to help cover any models that might be coming in, because countercharge is a thing.
Yep.
And let's face it, Velka is an amazing solo. Yes, he has a novel on the back of his book, but it just makes him so much more fun.
Yes. He's a very he has a lot of rules going on for him. So
Yes, he does. And then I move up Cold Grima to get her up there, and of course she decides to fall off her base because she's only pinned because I'm currently painting her.
Yep.
So we decided to leave her off for now. And I made sure that my Rune Bearer is still within 5 inches of her to give her that extra 2 inches to her control because her feet is control.
Yeah.
So that gets it all the way out to a 16-inch.
Yep.
Which is great because that means I think in total there's only about 7 or 8 models in your whole army I didn't push.
Yeah, it wasn't too many, which is, again, I don't have too many guns, so it's kind of interesting. Like, I have some, but not a ton of guns. You also can't, I also have a lot of weird models that can't actually be pushed at all, so.
Yeah, with his stones and his trees, they can't be pushed, but it pushed the Tharn, which is what I really wanted because, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know much about the CID. I don't know how much of a boost they got, but with how everyone seems to be salivating over them, it's like I didn't really want you charging into me.
Yep.
So giving myself that little extra room seemed like the best way to do it. And then I turn around and I make some nice mist clouds, some frozen mist clouds, because I want to, even though yes, you have been pushed back, I still want to make sure you can't charge me, so I keep my models on my side of the cloud to block that line of sight.
Yep.
Excuse me. So I put a nice little wall of clouds up near the top.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to be because those seem to be the most the Tharn that are closest to where my units want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing I want is you getting into me.
That's fair, yeah.
You guys got big axes. That's not nice. I mean, you're supposed to use them on trees, not me.
We have. Well, I mean, we did steal your axe, so.
Dude, read the fluff. He threw it away. He threw it to save his family and just let you keep it.
That's fine. Chromac will use it to great use. He will. So you move up. You end up only moving actually one solo into that zone. So
yeah, that was.
I kind of like. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that was definitely a mistake. It was something I realized sort of after, was that I hadn't committed enough to it. So it's like, well, I'll get the fell caller towing in the zone, and if I have him in the snowdrift, he should at least get some of the concealment.
Yep.
But, because I figure, you're going to try with your couple of models that were outside to shoot him.
Yes.
But I realize it's a little bit lackluster, but I'll be honest, I was focusing more on the center and the bottom zones.
Yep.
I realized where things were going.
So to start off, I trigger my my vengeance. I have one soul on Wormwood, so he turns it into one more fury. In this turn, it's just my objective is just to. You had 2 of my Ravagers that didn't get touched by the feet on the bottom area, and they're just going to try and honestly go into that group of guys there, kill as many things as can, and just gum up the works. On the top zone, my goal is just to kill that one Felcall in the zone, and sadly, my one Ravager with a charge and then a bot attack after that failed to kill it, which was quite sad. I was quite disappointed in that one.
Apparently he got his axe from Nerf.
Yes, he does not do that much to him. So. I think I leave him on like 1 or 2.
I believe it was 2.
Yes. So, which is disappointing because I wanted to actually have Cassius go and drop a Hellmouth also in that big group in the bottom because there was one dude right in the middle of that forest which would have been a great target for a Hellmouth. So I don't end up doing that, so my goal is I actually end up porting up the tree on the top zone, targeting the Mauler, and using Hellmouth on the Mauler to pull the Fellcaller out of the zone. So even if I don't kill it, it's now out of the zone.
Yeah,
so,
that was definitely a good call.
Which then affirms me one control point, which is what I wanted in this game. I was just going to try and, if I can get more than that, that's great, but I just wanted to go up one control point at a time. I figured you would clear the bottom zone, but as long as I could keep clearing that top zone, I was perfectly happy doing that. So
it was about here I realized what a mistake it was to leave that zone so poorly defended.
This is also the turn I'm going to feat with my with Wormwood. So this is me measuring it, just seeing how far. Wormwood he pops his feet. He puts up Spiny Growth just because he can get to quite an effective armor. Actually, he's got no defense, but he can get to an armor 23, which is pretty good. So he ends up putting spiny growth, and I'm camping 3 because I decide actually what I'm going to do is after popping feet is port him with the stones so that I have all those Northkin Raiders in my feet. So the one part of the feat that doesn't get used often is when a model becomes knocked down while in my feet, they take a point of damage. So it just ensures that anything that toughs, I can just kill it, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and then my only response to that is son of a birch.
Yes, son of a birch indeed. Except my tree is full of blood. Haha. So, yeah, this is just me measuring out where I'm going to put them.
Also known as Canadian maple syrup.
Canadian maple
Canadian
syrup.
blood.
I do love me some maple syrup, especially frozen. So the stones that are in the actual middle zone, they port the tree, get those guys in there. At this point, there is a 10-inch forest all the way around me, which actually is interesting because his feet also makes me lose Pathfinder. So at that point,
you've created a massive forest and you can't just run through it.
yeah. So I did have those 2 Ravagers though that didn't get hit by the feet. So I charged 1 Ravager into what's that?
Into my Raiders.
Oh no, into what's the solo in the bottom called again?
Oh, the solo is Velka.
Velka. So I charged into Velka, and I actually whiffed the roll quite heavily and I don't think I do even
No,
any
you
damage,
didn't do any damage.
which was quite sad because POW 15 against Armor 19 still should do something. So
And then your other Ravagers show him how it's done and turn around and the one guy kills basically all the Raiders.
he kills about 4 or 5 of them. I was hoping for a couple more, but he kills about 4 or 5 of them, which is good. This gets Wormwood up to max souls. So at the moment he's sitting at armor 23. I know that the Earthborn can get to him, but at this point I'm going, if you want to get the Earthborn on him, and I'm camping 3, go for it. I also throw the stones in the middle just to make him have to spend even more attacks.
Yeah. And then you buy your attack too on Velka
and do nothing
and
to
again.
him. Doesn't do much anything. So because they can't shoot the Blood Trackers just move up into position just to start shooting anything that goes into that zone, that top zone. Getarex, who did nothing basically the entire game, again just continues to go into the zone and just be in the zone. He puts Spiny Growth up on himself. I move up the Shaman to get both of those Ravagers in his command so that he can grant them no knockdowns, because with tough no knockdown, it can be annoying, as we've seen. So I just move up my beast behind my Ravagers as another wave, so as he comes into me, I'm just going to keep sending waves into that zone, and eventually, hopefully, I expect to eventually lose that zone, but I'm okay with that. I'm not super upset with this.
So now we go over to me, and I'm starting to realize that I took a little too long on my clock, so I got to start speeding it up a bit. So start off with Velka doing Righteous Vengeance, and he just moves up and with his attack kills the guy who failed to even scratch him. So take that, you Tharn.
Yes.
You dirty, dirty Tharn.
Yes, indeed. They are quite dirty. They are very, very dirty.
So of course they are. So
here I'm also just marked, just for Pat's sake, I'm also just marking, very roughly marking
where the edge of the forest
where the edge of the forest is.
I admit, a couple of times I did forget that, and that's part of what I think. I tend to. I have a problem, and I realize it is. I tend to overthink things. I'm one of those people. I see 200 opportunities, and I got to start narrow it down from there, and drop these 100 and get down to 50, and I get the overthinking overload, and that is definitely what happened to me here, because the forest makes it tricky. Him killing my Fellcaller was, definitely makes it a little trickier because I can't give my champions Pathfinder again. So I start off by just moving up the stone and awakening it and activating it so that I can get the added speed bonus, because I really need it this turn. Because with that forest up, any units that are going into the forest, it's an extra half an inch. So, as some of the ladies out there might tell you, that's important.
That is important. Always important. Half an inch is always important.
Especially when you're that deep in the bush.
Yes. So there's a lot of bush to go through.
Oh, God, yes.
There's a lot of bush.
You hear that, ladies? Jordan's got 10 whole inches of bush.
Yes.
At least that's what his tree pops.
Just bush. Just bush.
So it gets a little tricky, but I start figuring things out, and since you killed just about all my raiders, that did open up a nice big window for my champions. So I measured out with the forests. I make sure I can still get 3 inches to get the charge attacks on you. And as it works out, I get 3 models that can get charge attacks on you, and I get a 4th model that can attack you.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that's where my dice start to have a little bit of an issue.
You still killed him dead.
Oh yeah, I killed him dead after the first few.
I mean, you need 8s to hit though. He's defense 15 in the forest.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. I mean that +2 whenever they're in a forest.
Yes,
because that just means your entire side of the table almost a forest.
Yes, they get the defense on that. So
exactly. So that was definitely tricky and. For a good thing to remember for future games.
Yes.
Is Tharns in forests equal bad times.
Yes, it's true. They tend to be good in their own home, their own little home. So
you hear that? Engage them in the desert.
Yes. Unless it's Moshar, who loves the desert. And
let's see, where was it now?
This is when I've noticed you've started taking a lot of clock, and I've actually started shifting from going from scenario to actually going on clock, because I've noticed I've got about a 15-minute lead on you at this point.
Yeah.
And as long as I can keep that lead, I feel pretty secure about that.
Yeah, it's me and my overthinking. I moved the raiders up and try to use their fire bombs to deal with the stones, because if I can clear the stones off, then I'll score the zone. Which I realize, I've got to try to play the scenario as much as I can here. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out as well. I get one of your stones down to 1.
Yes.
I do light them on fire.
Yes.
But I get one stone down to 1, and one of them it's left on 3 health, I think.
Yes.
Which makes it a little interesting, because it's like, okay, since the champions, Valka, and everyone else have gone, that means I need to find something else to get up there and deal with those lovely stones.
Yes.
With the champions and that. Valka could potentially get up there, because I don't think I've activated Valka yet.
No,
but
you just did Righteous Vengeance.
Yeah, I just did the Righteous Vengeance, but as I measure it out, it's not close enough to really get straight to them. So I decided instead I'm going to go after your solo, the one that...
you end up sprinting him because you realize you can't actually see anything?
Yeah, with the forest I can't see anything, so I use his speed and just get up into there. Because he does have Pathfinder, so he's not slowed down, so if nothing else, I get up there and I make it so you have to deal with Valka.
Yep.
Because, or take Weapon Master free strikes, which I am totally fine if you wanted to do that.
Yes. Totally. I understand, yes.
So, thereon, I move my Earthborn up, and he proceeds to destroy what's left of your stones. And then he pops his Animus, Earth's Blessing, so he cannot be pushed or made stationary or knocked down or anything like that.
Yep.
And with the added bonus is he's under the stone, so that gives him +2 armor. And next to the house, he gets an additional +2 armor. So you've got an unmovable armor, arm 22 roadblock right there.
Yeah.
So it makes for a pretty good hiding spot behind him.
Yep. You end up moving your Mauler up there, and you kill one of my Ravagers, which is perfectly fine, because you then again proc Vengeance on them, which is I'm okay with. So
I did that more to get the Mauler in there, because I know I had to get something better in their contesting.
Yep.
And at the time, I was thinking I could have moved better to get him in the cloud, but then I realized afterwards he's not a Northkin model, and he's not immune to cold, so he wouldn't have gotten the bonus.
I was kind of surprised what you did with your other what do you call them, champs here. I was actually expecting you to put those champs in the zone to give it a bit more of a harder, because I feel with all the shots I have from from
your blood trackers,
plus I have the Tharn that can easily get into that Mauler. It's not actually super difficult for me to just remove that
honestly
Mauler.
After I'd moved, because I ended up moving Kogrima up to the house to get her into a safe place, I realized how much of an opening there was there, and I honestly figured if I left that opening there, you just get your blood trackers in behind you just go through the cloud and just start going after Cold Grima.
There,
So I needed to use my champions to try to plug that hole.
Possibly, I don't think I could have hit her. She would have been in cover. So basically, so this is the start of my turn. I turn all of my souls into Fury, and Wormwood has a whopping 10 Fury on him right now.
Yeah.
My first activation, just so I can get up there, is I move
And I did score the zone in the bottom.
You did score, so it scores
So it's
1-1 currently.
Yeah, we're tie game now.
So first thing I do is, just because I'm going to need it as just to make sure, is I run the white mane up into a position where he can give his veteran leader to all of my blood trackers and my ravagers as they're going. At this point, I'm trying to put more stuff in the zone. So I also trigger the vengeance on the bottom unit. Actually, no. Would they still have vengeance? I may have cheated there by mistake. I think actually the UA grants vengeance, so I wouldn't actually have gotten the vengeance here, which I don't know if I did anything damage to him with him, because I think the Gorax came in and killed what's his name?
Killed Valka?
I think Gorax came in and killed Valka.
I honestly don't remember now.
I don't know what killed... I don't remember what it was, if I did any damage here. If I did, I cheated. I apologize to viewers. Granted, I believe it might be granted from him, but I'll have to go back and look at the rules.
If so, it's a learning opportunity for us and the viewers.
There you go. So. But again, my goal actually wasn't to kill Valka. I want to put those two Ravagers in the bottom into those champs, because I just want to tie up those champs. I want to do as much damage as I can, but I'm not. Yeah, just tie them up. They like it. They like their beer and they're being tied up. So. The first thing I do also is the tree moves. I put Curse of Shadows on the Mauler up top. I put down a Rapid Growth right in front of where he put a smoke or a
where I put a Freezing Mist cloud
to play the counter game. So we
get to the point where we're doing the counter. I'll counter your clouds with my forest, and I'll counter your forest with my clouds.
So if you don't want to let me charge you, I won't let you charge me. Basically,
Battle of the Elements.
Yes. So Cassius then, Wormwood. Spends 2 and also jumps to Cassius in the forest in the back just to protect him. Now that my feet's down, I want to keep him a bit more safe. I ended up what was it? I killed the actual Sarn shaman in the bottom. Ended up chain lightning and killing a couple guys, which got me enough souls to get Wormwood back up to full. And I moved the Gorax up and kill. What's his name? I keep forgetting his name. Valka.
Someone on this channel will eventually learn his name.
Yes, it's true.
Other than me.
I kill Valka. I also put Primal up on the Stalker, who goes up into the Earthborn, and I didn't think I was going to kill the Earthborn here. I just want to do as much damage. I ended up whiffing and not even doing about half damage to it.
You didn't do too bad.
I rolled quite terribly, actually. I should have done probably close to 20-some damage, and I think I did like 10, maybe 2. But again, I wasn't trying to kill it. I just was trying to tie it up. I saw your clock was quite down, so I just was putting things in the zone, trying to make it so you can't get snare points quickly.
Yep. I think it's a good move.
Yes. So I move the blood trackers up. They actually they use their mini feet and they prey on the Mauler. They end up leaving him on 10 HP, I think.
Yes.
And then they actually, after they're done, one fun trick I've always had with them is they repo 3 inches to be in front of those my champions, which is really annoying because you're running a bit low on models that can clear them off. So now you have to spend, unless you can get them off, you have to spend a whole their activation just clearing off 2 blood trackers.
that I'll give you that. That was very annoying.
Yeah. So 2 Ravagers.
And then you turn around and you charge me with the Ravagers.
Yeah, the two Ravagers charge into that Mauler and they end up killing it, which then frees up the zone again, and I will score a point at the end of this turn. I think after that, I do the other Ravagers. They do some damage to one of the champs. They do some damage. You spread it out amongst the...
Yeah, you did 8 damage, so I Sanguine Bonded it. And
just spread it out. Geterex just basically moves up a little bit but stays where he is. And when you commit those champs, he's just basically there to...
Yeah, so you've got your solo Geterex and the Warp Wolf Stalker all in the zone, just towing the zone.
Yes.
Which makes it very hard for me to deal with.
Yeah, to actually get them out.
I think about here is where I realized I've got about 5 minutes left on the clock. I admit I go a little bit panicky, but I realize, okay, if nothing else, I can at least try to get some points. So I turn around and decide to come up with something a little bit weird. I use the raider that I have left on the bottom. I move him up and throw a bomb at your solo.
Yes.
To try to do something, but the dice don't quite agree.
Oh no, you did 5 damage, and then he healed 1 point back from.
I swing my champions around so that all of them can get melee attacks on your 2 Ravagers that are left there, and I end up cutting them down pretty quick.
Yep.
I think it was only 2 or 3 of them that even attacked, and then that took you out. So now that means the biggest thing I've got to deal with is still got to deal with that solo, the Gator X, and the Wolf Stalker. Now, what I do is I swing the Earthborn around, keeping him in the Stalker's front arc, so that he can get all 3. My original plan was to do a 2-handed throw on the Warpwolf Stalker, and then I would have I could buy attacks on either the Gedorex
the
Gorax and the solo. But my dice had a different thing in mind, as they rolled an amazing trip 1s.
Yes, they did.
So then we proceed to have my Earthborn start attacking to try to kill the solo. And it takes 3 attacks later for it to actually connect and kill her.
Yeah.
So that plan has kind of gone out the window now.
Yeah.
So at this point, it kind of becomes, what the heck? Let's just try to kill a few more things. So I run Cold Grandma because, I'm a caring person. I don't want Grandma getting hurt.
Yeah. So at this point, I think you're clocked out now, but we're just rolling attacks to see what you do.
Yeah,
you kill a couple blood trackers, but
I killed 1 blood tracker, but that was it, and you got me on clock.
Yep,
so.
Got you on clock. I would have scored that zone
Top
again,
zone.
and
so would have gone up to 2-1.
Yep. So, what did you think of the matchup? What did you think of the Tharn going into them?
I think they are definitely something different. I have not had a game look quite like this in a while. They're very powerful, and I'm not sure. I don't know how I feel about going into them in the future. But
this game felt very standoffish. Like, it didn't feel like we actually got into a very large grind.
Yeah.
There was nothing. It didn't feel like there was any very impactful turns.
I think the problem is both of our armies want to be initiating the alpha.
Yes.
And we were both we were let's face it, we were dancing.
Well,
we were dancing throughout the whole game.
We both have strategy. You put clouds up to try and move up to get the alpha, and I have a feat that just is a giant forest that allows me to be in a position to also get an alpha.
Exactly.
So it's very it was just a very dancing back and forth, and it'll be interesting going into it because none of us got really super big charges, but I don't know.
I think honestly, once we both get some more games in and more practice in, I think it'll be a really good match because, I mean, you've got your Tharn are really powerful in melee. We got my champions are really good in melee.
Yes.
It's definitely a kind of list that wants to run into. We want to run into each other and just grind hard.
Yes, very true. Yes, indeed. I'm very excited actually for all the CID that's coming out. I am excited to put the Storm Raptor on the board. I love the big bird, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I got some janky lists up my sleeve for making the Storm Raptor work really well. So that's probably in the future for me what I want to play. But thanks guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you
very much. And tune in next time to another battle board. So now to go find Dave.